Fox News alert and 2018's first big political battle heating up at the White House right now. President Trump meeting with a bipartisan group of lawmakers to talk about immigration. That sit down comes as a looming budget deadline also hangs over their heads. A legislative priority for the administration, the administration says Democrats are using for leverage on immigration.
Unfortunately, the Democrat position has been to say we're not going to agree to any additional spending until there's a deal on DACA. And while we're anxious to get a deal on DACA, we feel it's improper to hold hostage our troops who are working so hard to protect us over a position on illegal immigration.
Joining us now, Leslie Marshall, syndicated radio host. Also with us, Gianno Caldwell, founder of Caldwell Strategic Consulting. Both are Fox News contributors. It seems that, Gianno, that the American people generally do not like it when their government shuts down, and they usually blame the party that's responsible. The question is, who would people feel is responsible if this shutdown were to happen?
Well, honestly, we're talking about the Democrats, which are holding everything up with this disingenuous vow to fight over DACA. They're legitimately holding 11 million people, the dreamers, that is, hostage over political points. And this is where we are in this country at this particular point in time, especially when we think about what the fight is over, the dreamers, and what Democrats are now saying is a divisive issue when people like President Obama, as U.S. Senator Obama, President Clinton, and Hillary Clinton in 2006 voting for the Secure Fence Act. These folks are now saying that this is a divisive issue when they were for it before they were against it, at least having a border with the southern hemisphere. So I'm finding this to be very troubling that Democrats want to score political points when there's real lives on the line.
Leslie, there was a time when Barack Obama had the White House and had the bully pulpit. Why did Democrats not deal with the dreamers then?
Well, actually, Democrats tried to deal with the dreamers, John, and this is something that's had bipartisan support, but they just never make it to the finish line. And what happens is at the end of the day, I couldn't disagree with my buddy over there more in the other studio. I have to tell you, it's just amazing to me. Do you remember a guy named George W. Bush? He was a president and he was a Republican, and he actually was in agreement with what Democrats are asking for now. The problem here is, are we going to hold hostage dollars or dreamers? And dreamers are being held hostage regarding a wall, and some want to blame Democrats for saying, look, no more dollars when we want to deal with human beings, the dreamers first and foremost. Neither side wants a shutdown. I certainly hope it doesn't come to that, but I don't think there's going to be a wall. We don't have the money, and you can't use these people as a bargaining chip to get that.
Leslie, the president who won the election could not have been more plain with his campaign plank that he wanted to build that wall, and it got him elected. Why should he not pursue it?
Well, first of all, he said Mexico was going to pay for it, so there would be a broken campaign promise. And politicians breaking campaign promises? Oh, me, oh, my. In addition to that, we don't have the money to pay for this wall with the billions in the B. And furthermore, the security risks to the United States don't come in through Mexico and are not because we have right now the lowest illegal immigration passing over the border in Mexico. We have something in front of us called a computer, and that's how these terrorists like ISIS are recruiting individuals, and we have these lone wolf attacks here and worldwide.
Mercedes Schlapp, who is a White House communications advisor, was on Fox and Friends. Gianno, I want you to listen to hear what she had to say about this argument. Listen.
Okay. I think the Democrats are really running a very big risk if they go in this direction of basically saying we're gonna hold on the spending bill because of this DACA deal. And here is the president saying, come over to the White House, let's talk, let's get this done. But the American people, what they want to make sure that our homeland is protected. They want to make sure that we have real immigration reform. It's why the president was elected, and the president will deliver.
So is it risky for Democrats to try to make demands in exchange for, some kind of a DACA deal? Gianno?
I think it's very risky. The fact of the matter is the DACA program, the executive order, was an unconstitutional executive order. The Constitution tells us that the Congress does have the say-so over immigration policy. I think the Democrats are really hedging their bets because they know that the Hispanic population is going to be the minority majority in this country. And when we think about sanctuary cities like my hometown of Chicago, I know that the reason why people like Mayor Rahm Emanuel are holding undocumented immigrants to this standard is because he knows that every 10 years there's a census. And what does the census do? It counts people. It doesn't matter if they're legal or not. And what does that number do? It provides a number of congressional seats. And what happens there? It gives power to a particular state and funding, which gives especially Democrats patronage, jobs, and all kind of other things. So again, this is a disingenuous effort by the Democratic Party because they're not caring about the lives of these dreamers that are really on the line. Because I have friends that are dreamers. They care about the power in which they get in the political points 2018 and the 2020 election. That's their consideration. Otherwise, they would make a deal because they were willing to make a deal some years ago.
Leslie, there's a bipartisan meeting underway at the White House. Last question, what are the chances they actually come to some kind of agreement?
I don't think there'll be an agreement today. Quite frankly, I think quite the opposite of what Gianno just said, which is Republicans don't want these dreamers to become citizens because you know that they are going to 99.9% vote Democrat because the Democrats have done more for immigrants, undocumented and otherwise in this country historically. And bottom line, John, Republicans will be blamed if there's a shutdown because they're in power in the White House and in both chambers of Congress.
Not at all.
We'll see.
We are a nation of laws. We are a nation of laws, and everyone has to submit to that. There has to be a procedure in place. No one just gets in for the strength of it. We have to be a nation of laws.
And I've talked to a lot of legal immigrants who are upset about people jumping the line in front of them. But that's another topic for another day. Leslie Marshall, Gianno Caldwell, thank you both.
Did FBI